What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be spoiling The Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 15, and this will be the last episode of The Walking Dead that we're going to get for a while, even though this is not the finale because of all of the craziness that's going on right now. This is what we get, and we're going to have to wait to see the season finale, and they are going to leave us hanging. But we'll talk more about that at the end. Anyways, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and let's get into it. I'm Mr. Hanson, and this is Spoiler Alert. This episode picks up where the last one left off, and we get to meet Juanita. But she likes to be called Princess, and so that's what we'll call her. She explains that she has been living out here on her own, and it's been over a year since she has actually seen anyone. She offers to show the group around and even give them supplies, but Minko has her reservations and thinks it's better just to part ways with a stranger. But just when they turn to leave, some walkers show up. But fear not, it turns out Princess is a bit of a badass herself. She uses her rifle to take down the walkers, and in doing so, she also scares off the group's horses, so things were off to a rough start with Princess. The group gathers up and tries to decide what their next move is. Without the horses, they are stuck, and it would take at least a day to track the horses down. Ezekiel suggests that they allow Princess to try to help them. The group is not in love with the idea, but their options are pretty limited at this point, so they decide to go ahead and accept her help. Princess says she knows a place that has wheels that they could use to get back on their way. They agree to go, but only if Princess will give up her gun. She agrees, and the four head off. She ends up leading the group into a minefield, but fails to mention it's a minefield until she loses track of her path that she was taking. Obviously, the group is super pissed at her, but after a bit, she is able to lead them out. When they get back to the main road, the group realizes that this is the same road they were on before, and that the princess could have taken them straight here, but for some reason, she chose to go around and lead them through danger. Princess admits that she took them on the long route so she could spend more time with them, but says that she knew her way through the minefield and they were never in any real danger. She goes on to tell her little life story that she is hard to love, that she is not a bad person, just a lot to handle. She lets them know that she was a loner before, and she's a loner now because she always messes up just like she did this time. Eugene steps in and lets her know he knows exactly how she feels, and he forgives her and asks if she was lying about the garage full of wheels. She says no and leads them to a garage full of wheels. Wheels of old bicycles, that is, but everybody's cool with it. It's still better than nothing. Princess goes on to apologize some more, but Minko says she understands and invites Princess to join them. Princess happily agrees, and I love this because she looks like she's going to be an awesome addition. Okay, Princess, welcome to the team. Okay, she's sporadic, she's outrageous, she's loud, she is an absolute loose cannon, and I absolutely love her. I think that this is going to be a great addition to the team. She's going to add a whole nother element to things. I'm pretty sure she's a good guy. You know, I like to think the best of people, but we don't know. She could have alternative motives, but as of right now, she seems like she's going to be awesome. And maybe if things don't work out with Stephanie, maybe Eugene and Princess? I don't know. But I'm happy to have her. She is super wild, and it's going to be super entertaining. But let's keep it going. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew are held up in a hospital right now. Negan is there, and no one seems to be paying him much attention at all. So that reunion that I was hoping to get was actually kind of dull. Lydia is here also, and Judith just tried to talk to her about losing her mother, but Lydia didn't really seem into talking to Judith about it. Negan also tried to talk to Lydia. He was trying to help Lydia deal with the loss. He explains there were good things about her mother, and she was not all bad, and he even really liked parts about her, but the bad stuff that she had was just unforgivable. Lydia does not want to hear it from Negan either, and she just walks away. But later, the two would end up talking, and Negan tries to get Lydia to process her mother's death. He offers to let Lydia hit him. He just wants her to let it all out, that keeping it bottled up was just going to make it worse. Lydia started to go off on Negan and say that he's not trying to make her feel better, he's trying to make himself feel better. She even eventually starts hitting him, and her feelings do come out, but she ends up crying in his arms, and the two had a nice little moment together. Meanwhile, back at the hospital, Luke is working on something, but he needs someone to go out and get a part for him, and Carol offers to go out and get it, and Kelly decides to join her. While out, we get this moment with Kelly and Carol where Carol tries to apologize for what happened with Connie, but Kelly says Connie is not dead. She refuses to believe that she just can't believe that. She goes on to tell Carol how much she respects her, how she has heard all the stories about how badass Carol is, how taking chances and thinking outside of the box has made Carol great over the years and saved the crew many times. And just because some bad things happen doesn't mean that you can stop being who you are. Kelly was super awesome right here and even made me rethink how I was thinking about Carol. She is always the one that does what no one else wants to do, and she usually does great, but hey, sometimes some shit happens. Okay, I actually really liked this scene with Carol and Kelly. I mean, it was awesome. You know, Carol's been here since the beginning, and we love Carol, and so it kind of sucks when we're going through these phases where she's doing stupid things and just putting people in shitty situations. But, you know, Kelly brought up a good point, you know, like she puts us in those situations and generally she wins those situations, you know, but she took some L's and I get it and it's okay. Carol, we forgive you. And it ultimately was Carol who put everything together that got Negan to kill Alpha. So in turn, her plan worked. It might have taken a little bit longer than she expected, but it did work. So, Carol, you are back on our good side, unless we find out Connie's dead. If we find out Connie's dead, we're going to reassess the situation. But as of right now, Carol, you're good. Lydia and Negan thing, whatever. It had to happen. It happened. It was kind of uneventful. They had a nice little moment. I'm sure they're going to continue to be close because if you remember, even before Negan got out of the prison cell, him and Lydia were becoming pretty close. So I think they'll just continue that relationship, and that's awesome because she does need somebody, and Negan is that person, some perfect somebody. So let's keep it going. While out securing the perimeter of the hospital, Daryl runs into Judith. He starts the whole "you can't be out here alone" talk and tries to get her to go back, but she says she wants to learn to track and secure the perimeter just like Daryl does. Daryl is reluctant at first, but eventually breaks and allows Judith to come with him. It wouldn't take long before they run into some walkers, but they're not all walkers. One was a whisperer, and Daryl realized this, so he hit her in the chest, and then he killed off all the walkers. They approach the woman who begs for help. Daryl questions her, and she claims that she used to be a scout for the Whisperers, but she is now on her own, and that the others are headed towards Oceanside. Daryl ends up shooting her in the head and killing her, and this did not make Judith very happy. Daryl explains that she was going to die anyways, and it would have just been a slow and painful death, and he actually did her a favor, but Judith was still not a fan of leaving her there in the ditch. We get this moment between the two where Judith tells Daryl about the conversation with Michonne, and she knows that it means she may never see her again, and she didn't tell Daryl because she was scared that he would leave too. Daryl lets her know that he ain't going nowhere, and that no matter what happens, she will always have family, and just because something breaks your heart does not mean that everything that follows will also break your heart. It was a beautiful moment, and the two hugged it out. Just when they were about to head out, Daryl receives a distress call from Gabriel saying they were surrounded, so it appears that Beta's horde had arrived. Beta had been gathering up his followers, both dead and alive, back in his hometown, but he is not alone. Aaron and Eldon are keeping a close eye on their moves, hiding in the background, and reporting back to the folks at the hospital. They seem to believe that Beta is leading the horde towards Oceanside, and they seem okay with that. Like, maybe they have some kind of plan of attack when they get there. At this point, I'm not sure. As they follow the horde, it changes directions and starts heading right for the hospital. They try to call in and warn the others, but the radio doesn't work. They start making their way back, but get caught up by some of Beta's crew, and we don't get to see what happens to them. The episode ends with Beta pulling up to the hospital with his horde, so it looks like next episode we are going to get a battle that our guys are not prepared for, but we won't be getting it next week. That's right, folks. We were left with this cliffhanger right here with Beta and his crew pulling up on the hospital like that. Our crew not ready for whatever's going on here. Okay, so and a question came up was like, why are they even inside of this hospital? And I do think it's because they are setting a trap for Beta and the Horde at Oceanside. For some reason, they think that that's where he's going to go. That's where they've been trying to lead him to, and they're kind of like on the outskirts in this outpost, you know, ready for the attack that's coming over here. Luke's working on something, so something's going on, you know, like they're somewhat prepared, but I don't think that they were prepared for it to come to the hospital where they're all at right now. Because if they were suspecting that, they wouldn't have all the kids there, because the kids are there right now. So that's pretty crazy, but we're not going to get to find out. But because of this whole thing that's going on right now, we're not going to get the first season of The Walking Dead World Beyond. And for some reason, they want the season finale of The Walking Dead and The Walking Dead World Beyond to air right at the same time. That's just my theory. That's why I think that they're postponing this finale, because World Beyond got pushed back. So we are going to have to wait to find out what happens right there. And Michonne, it looks like she's definitely gone from The Walking Dead. You know, I don't know why, based off of the conversation that Judith had with her, why Judith would come to the conclusion that Michonne is gone for good. But she did, at least that's how I perceived it, is that she's accepting that Michonne is gone for good, and Daryl is kind of conceding that as well, is saying, it's okay, you know, you still got family. But, I mean, if you think about it, Shane, Lori, Rick, and Michonne, she's lost 2 moms and 2 dads. Sure, a mom and dad she didn't know, but still. Anyways, you know, dang, Judith, but at least she still got Daryl, you know, so it looks like that they're going to become a lot closer in the next season of The Walking Dead, and she's going to kind of fill that role, I guess. I don't know. That's awesome, because she's a badass. Daryl's a badass. That's a perfect little duo right there. Throw Negan in there too. That's cool. But we are going to have to wait, and that totally sucks. So, I don't know. So there's going to be no more to spoil, but don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join us on our next show, and we will certainly be here to spoil the finale when it comes back. And we will be spoiling the next season of The Walking Dead as well, and World Beyond, and Fear the Walking Dead. You can catch it all here. But The Walking Dead, Season 10, Episode 15, you have officially been spoiled. So till next time, peace.